All right, we are live. Let me click the button over here on Instagram and we'll be good to go.
Let's go.
All right, Coach Danny D, what is going on, my man?
Much, man. I'm ending my Friday work day, hanging out with you. I couldn't find a better last hour of my work day than this, like my work week.
Awesome, brother. Well, I appreciate it. So let me introduce you to the good folks, and then we'll hop right into Fresh Start Fridays. Sound good? All right, Danny DelVecchio is an entrepreneur, coach, content creator who specializes in helping founders and companies build their online presence and attract clients with video and content. His agency, Content on Easy Mode, has helped over 200 founders and companies generate millions in organic revenue without viral hacks, but by being the real human behind their profile photo. When he's not helping experts make content, you'll find Danny in Charleston, South Carolina with his wife and 2 boys, coaching basketball, perfecting his Italian cooking, and discovering the next great local restaurant. My man, what's going on?
You gave me the full intro there.
The full intro.
I like it. I'm doing good, man. Like I said, I'm happy it's Friday. Things are good.
Yeah.
And happy to be chatting with you.
All right, brother. So let's get into it. Fresh Start Fridays is all about rebuilding, rebounding, coming back, resilience. And I know that you've got a story like I gave in the promo video before. You know, you failed out of college. You found your way into retail sales, which is one of those jobs that they just take anybody off the block. No shade on you. I mean, I did it too. You know what I'm saying? It took your lumps for 20 friggin' years in sales. So I know you've got some stories there. And then you found your way into entrepreneurship with its own set of challenges. But let's go back in time. College. Tell me a little bit about that, brother.
So college is probably like my first big fail. Actually, I had some big fails in high school too, but college is definitely a big one for me. So I went to UMass.
Okay.
I grew up in New York, Long Island, got into UMass, and I was not ready to like be sent off away from home to like go live on my own in college at all, because I was way too much of a partier at the time. Yeah. So first semester I was there, I was like, I realized, oh, you never need to go to class. You just got to show up and take the test. It was that kind of thing. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And all I did was like, I just partied all day, every day. I slept till like 2:00 in the afternoon. I didn't really work very hard. I got 4 Fs and a C. And like, that was first semester. Then they let me come back, and I did good enough to stay in for second semester, and just to skate by. And then after the third semester, I had it already. Like I wasn't in love with Massachusetts. Like the how do I want to say this without sounding like a jerk? The place is great. The people, I guess it was hard being a Yankees fan in Massachusetts. I was like, I didn't get it. Like when the Patriots won the Super Bowl and there was like a riot outside and everybody was screaming Yankees suck. I'm like, I don't really get that. But it's like, are we celebrating or what are we doing here? But no, I'm harsh on the Boston people, but Boston's a great town too. But no, it was an epic fail. So I failed out of college, came back, did community college and stuff like that. And while I was basically kind of in and out, trying to figure out what the hell I wanted to do, I got into retail and I started working at Radio Shack.
Ooh, wow. That's a throwback, dude. That is a throwback.
Yeah. So I was working at the Shack and going to school at the same time. And then Radio Shack was like, how would you like to be an assistant manager? And I was like, sure, no problem. So like, we're going to sign you up for the training. So I show up for the training.
Wait, hold on a second. Right now, you're not even 21 yet, right? Or are you?
No, I think I was in that range.
Okay. So there's a big opportunity
I might have been 20 or 21 or whatever. And they're like, do you want to be a store manager and assistant manager? So I said, yes, I will take the assistant manager training. So I show up, I take the training, and then I show up to the second training class, and they're like, we're going to pull you out of the class and we're going to give you your own store.
Okay. All right.
I was like, all right, let's do it. Let's bring it on. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
Worst decision ever. They gave me the worst, like, underperforming store in the whole district or whatever that nobody else wanted. You know, it was like, this was like the store that nobody else wanted. And they kind of like suckered the guy who was like, yeah, let's just push this guy into it. And I had like 4 or 5 employees and me. I was also a non-hiring manager, so I couldn't hire anyone myself. And then like people started quitting and everything. And I ended up like working every day, open to close, like 12-hour days, like 7 days a week, because I didn't have like enough staff I had to be there almost every day for like from open to close. And I'm like, this is just like the worst thing ever. And I was like, I got to get out of here. So I ended up, trying to figure out how to get out of Radio Shack, and I ended up at AT&T.
Okay.
So I started working at the AT&T store. That was a high point. I was doing really well over there. I was one of the top people I was one of the top sales reps in the country. I was in a really busy store. And then they made me an assistant manager at a store in Queens. And I did that for a little while. And then I got myself into AT&T B2B sales.
Okay.
So that was 20. So like, let me think about when this is. So this is 2011 that I got into B2B for AT&T. And I had like 4 of the best years of my career as a sales rep in B2B at AT&T. Again, one of the top people in the country. I made like the President's Club. I went to Vegas 4 times on AT&T's dime or whatever. So that was pretty cool. And but I just kind of got fed up because I wasn't getting promoted. I'm like, I don't know how much better I can do. I'm like, I can't do any better. And like every time there was an opportunity to get promoted, I didn't get it. I'm like, well, what am I supposed to be doing here? And I was kind of like obsessed with getting out of, being a sales rep and becoming a leader and a sales manager. And it just wasn't happening over there. So I left and I went to work at another, an affiliate of AT&T. And it was a company that was managing also that ran a bunch of AT&T non-corporate stores. They were fully on AT&T stores, but they weren't corporate. They're called an authorized retailer. Okay. So I worked at this authorized retailer because they were starting a business-to-business team. And I was one of the first people that they hired. And within a couple of months, my boy Lonnie promoted me to become a manager. So I was a sales manager, and I had a team of like 8 people. So we had about 16 people in our division, and we grew it to 150 in 3 years. So that was awesome. I became so I got promoted from sales manager to sales director. But that also came with some challenges.
Sure.
So now we're getting into like the failure part or whatever, right?
Okay,
so
we're down, we went up, now we're back down again.
Exactly. There's a little, there's that roller coaster, right? So this is where it starts to go down because I started doing a lot of traveling.
Okay.
Right. And I mean, 3 out of every 4 weeks, like 3 weeks out of a month, I was getting on a plane and either going to Utah for our corporate headquarters. We did all our training out there. So, I was flying to Utah, or I was flying to.
Hold on, I'm sorry. Are you married yet? Are you?
And I have like a 2-year-old.
Oh, wow. Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So you're
So
not like a bachelor. You're
I'm
like,
leaving, I'm leaving my wife and 2-year-old
mm,
every week to go, to all these places or whatever,
okay,
and that kind of wore on me a little bit.
sure.
And also I just led like a very like unhealthy lifestyle. And I've always been heavy, I've always been up and down in weight, right? I had lost a lot of weight while I was working at AT&T. When I started working at the AT&T stores, I started to lose some weight, and then getting ready for my wedding kind of thing. And then after my wedding, I gained back a whole bunch of weight. And that was like one of the worst times, was while I was working at that company, because like I said, I was traveling all the time, eating fast food and like not working out. And, and I got like real unhealthy. So I was definitely like 100 pounds overweight, at least, maybe more. And then, but things were going well, as far from like a career perspective. I was on like a nice trajectory. I'm sitting in meetings with like the CEO and everything. And then the company got acquired.
Ooh.
And it all went downhill from there. After the acquisition, they basically demoted me, and I got kind of like annoyed at that. So I left very hastily and went to a new startup company that some of the people that left were building.
Okay.
But which was a big mistake, because I went from sales director down to sales rep.
Ooh.
Back to sales rep again.
So you're starting from the bottom now.
Yeah, exactly. I had to start all over again. Now I did, they're like, we can't bring you on as managers. We don't need managers. We only have like certain amount of people right now,
Right.
And I was like I said, it was a stupid mistake. I shouldn't have done that, because I really did not want to be a sales rep. And then, so now I'm in this role that I don't even want. Then we get close to COVID, and I get another job but it's again, another individual contributor sales role at Paychex, little higher salary, a little more senior sales role. But what ends up happening is like I got the job in March of 2020.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm the last person that they brought in for this division, like right before they cut off like all hiring.
Right.
So I'm in training class, and I'm the only one in my training class that was like new. Everybody else was like, they had nothing to do with the training team. So they took a bunch of people that were underperforming and put them in like another training class. And I was in that class. So now here I am. I'm trying to learn a whole new industry, trying to make sales in a pandemic. My role is commission based, and I had just bought a new house.
Wow.
And I'm like,
I don't envy you. I don't envy that version of you.
Strapped for cash, man. I mean, like it was, we were burning through savings to afford to live at this house. And the job isn't getting any easier or getting any better. And that's when I'm like, I got to try to figure out like how to, do a little side hustle kind of thing. Right. Mm-hmm. So I had a really successful podcast back in 2016.
Okay.
And 500,000 listeners, like, with 60 episodes, like every episode, thousands of thousands. We had 20,000 followers on social media, something like that, all organic.
This is the podcast that you mentioned at EPC, right?
It was I mentioned at the conference. Yeah, it was called "Where's Larry" podcast. It was about the TV show Impractical Jokers.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, so I built this big audience, and I gave up the podcast very one, because my co-host quit, and two, because I got that promotion. I started doing a lot of traveling. So I couldn't keep up with the demands of like running this podcast, which was a full-on hobby. I wasn't making any money off of it. It was just like, this is what I was doing for fun. So I dropped that. So when I started this new, so I was like, I'm going to start a new podcast, but this time I'm going to figure out how to make money from it.
Okay.
Right. Oh, man, this podcast was a disaster. So the idea behind the podcast was called For My Sons. And the whole idea of like what I wanted to do was to interview cool people that were influential to me in my life in some capacity, and save the interviews for my sons as like a kind of like almost like a time capsule memento kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So really like in the concept of it, like awesome.
Yeah.
So I joined this like coaching program, which I like spent my tax return or whatever to join this coaching program. And they're like, well, it's a parenting podcast. I'm like, well, no, not really. I'm not trying to teach people how to parent here. You know, like that's not the goal of it. The goal is a bit more is to pass on wisdom down. And they're like, yeah, but you got to lump it into a category and it needs a niche and this, you know, if you want to get people. And they're like, so you go into the parenting niche. So I'm like, all right, fine. And then this podcast ends up being like me interviewing like these dad influencers or whatever. And like, yeah, sure. Like some of them were cool and I met some cool people, but it just wasn't what I wanted to be doing. Like it wasn't what I like set out to do when I started this podcast at all. And it wasn't something that I wanted to monetize. Like I didn't like, you know, when you're trying to make money from your podcast or whatever it is, or you're trying to take your podcast audience to like a paid product or service, like I had no desire to teach people how to parent.
Right.
Like, I'm like, it's not like, I don't want to coach people on parenting. I don't want to teach them how to do it. So I was just really frustrated with it and I didn't know what the hell I wanted to do. And that's when I met my homie, Travis Brown. All right. And so Travis was a, you know, he had built himself a nice little name in podcasting niche because he had a company called Poddex or whatever. And, you know, had the podcast questions on the cards and everything.
Oh, yeah. Right. Yeah, I remember, I think he was a sponsor a couple times at Podfest.
Yes, he definitely was.
He might even still be, but I remember that's where I was introduced to it because we got the playing cards in the swag bag the one year.
Yep. So that was Travis Brown. That was him. So he started a little podcast mastermind group and I joined that. And basically, you know, he knows I'm real frustrated with the podcast and we're trying to figure out how we, you know, take a different angle and what do we do and how do we get, you know, this thing cranking. And he comes to find out like all about my background with sales and business. And he's like, dude, he's like, stop your podcast right now. He's like, go start a coaching business. He's like, and then once you get this coaching business up and running, then you could start a podcast and build a podcast around the business that serves the business instead of vice versa. Right. So that was it. I became a coach. This was 2021, like the end of 2021. So I got my first coaching clients, friends, like old, you know, one was a friend from high school. Another one was like an old friend from work. These were my first coaching clients. And I started coaching them on the two things that I was good at, sales and social media. Right. Well, obviously sales because I had, you know, the sales background of 20 years and social media because I grew my podcast to 500,000 listeners all through organic social media. So I'm trying this coaching business. And again, I'm working at the same time. Right. And, you know, I'm not really having any luck getting clients. I get a few here and there, but like not enough to, you know, make any kind of money that would allow me to leave this job that I completely hate. Right. Because again, like I'm back in this like very like entry level position, like not being like engaged and like not like loving getting up every morning and going to work. And so, all right, so I've got that going on. I got the side thing going on. So what's happening at my work at this point though, is I start making videos online on LinkedIn, right? For the company.
For the company.
Start making videos online for the company. And people start to notice me a little bit. Even though I'm not selling anything really, because like I said, we're in a whole, you know, it's a struggle or whatever, but I start making these videos and I get noticed and they say, hey, you know, can you come in and teach people a little bit about what you're doing with these videos and like how you're using video for your sales process? So I end up presenting, meanwhile, I'm this like brand new sales rep here. And I end up doing a presentation for the entire 375 salespeople in the organization and all the sales leadership and directors and everything on how to use video.
Okay.
So I try to parlay that into like getting me another opportunity. So I'm trying to get that. I'm trying to get into sales training, or I'm trying to get into sales enablement, or even a leadership role, right? Because now we're starting to come out of COVID and they're opening stuff back up and everything like that, right? So I interview for 7 jobs.
Okay.
And I make it to the final round of interviews for every single one. And I got 0. And it was the last one. It was the last job that I knew that I was like, because it was the one I wanted the most. It was on the sales enablement team, and it was all about like, helping the salespeople like do social selling and content. And I'm like, this is right up my alley. And I'm like, this would be an amazing job.
Right.
And I got pretty far down the interview process, and the guy was just like, yeah, we're going to go with somebody who was like levels above me.
Oh, okay. And I wanted clarification on that. So those 7 roles were internal roles. Like,
All
so
internal.
you were looking to move up. You had just presented this thing. Like, you were the man in the spotlight for a hot minute, thinking, okay, I'm going to ride this wave.
Exactly.
Like, I've got this star power. I just gave this presentation to the entire team, and that's got to get me some kind of like credit points. You know what I'm saying? But
it did, but it didn't give me enough points to get what I really ultimately wanted, which was to get out of an individual contributor sales role and get into something else.
Gotcha. Okay.
And the last one, like I said, really on the sales enablement team, I wanted it bad. They gave it to somebody who was already like had higher level, position to me or whatever. So after that disappointment, I was like, that's it. That's my sign. I'm going all in. I'm going all in on building up on my business. So this is coming into, I guess we're coming into 2022 now. And like I said, this whole time I'm not making enough money. I'm like depleting my savings account, living in the most expensive place to live in the entire country, Long Island. $12,000 a year in property taxes or whatever, that kind of thing. And, I'm just like, we got to get out of here. We got to move. And in the same, so we put the house on, we put some work into the house. We put the house on the market, and, we did pretty well because a lot of people at the time realized they never need to go back to Manhattan again. They can move out to Long Island because they now work remote. So people were moving west. People were moving like into Eastern Long Island, and that bode well for my property values or whatever, right? So we did pretty well on the house, and we cashed out, and we headed for South Carolina.
Okay.
And in the same week that we were getting ready to leave for South Carolina, I quit my job.
Okay.
Because I now had all this money from the house. And I was like, I'm going to lend myself $70,000.
Okay.
And that's going to have to, like, I've got 6 months to basically live off this $70,000 while I figure out like what the heck my next step is here.
Okay.
And, I couldn't sell anything for that entire 6 months. I was trying to sell coaching, and then I was trying to sell this video service that I was doing for my clients. Completely failing, like nothing. And so November of 2023, I start posting on LinkedIn.
Okay.
Because I had quit my job. So I was like, now I can post on LinkedIn to get clients instead of posting on Instagram or whatever. Because when I was working at the company at Paychex, like I had on LinkedIn, I had my boss and his boss and their boss and all my peers and everything. Right. So I felt
movement.
Yeah. So I felt like I couldn't really, talk about my side hustle business in front of all these people. Like, so I did my side hustle stuff on Instagram, and I did my, my business stuff on LinkedIn.
Okay.
And sure enough, like I said, I started posting on LinkedIn every day in November. So that's kind of like in the middle of that 6 months that I gave myself there. Right.
Okay.
And so I started posting on LinkedIn and I'm getting traction there. I'm growing pretty fast. People like what I have to say, but I'm not making money yet. And I got to the point where it was like, well, I got two choices now. I have two things that I'm trying to promote. And this is a problem too, when you have a business and you don't really know what you're doing, is like, you're trying to promote, like I was trying to do too many things, right? I was trying to sell coaching and I was trying to sell an agency model, right? Because I do video on easy mode was an agency model product or whatever that I was doing for my coaching clients. And that thing failed miserably on Instagram because everybody on Instagram was already doing videos. Like they were already doing reels. They had like a whole cadence down. Like nobody wanted to buy like a done for you, like video, like where I would interview people. Right. They just like, it wasn't working. But on LinkedIn, what I realized, so I went to LinkedIn thinking I'm just going to sell coaching and I'm going to teach people how to do social media and make content and use the content to grow their business. And what happened on LinkedIn was like, nobody's on doing video over there.
Right.
So as I start posting on LinkedIn, people start to get to know me as the video guy.
Okay.
And like mostly I'm just getting questions like, how do you do this with video? And how do you do this? And how do you do this? And how do I get captions? And how do I, or how are my videos too long? Or like, how do my videos look? Right. So I'm just like, kind of, my head is spinning and thinking, that old product that I gave up on over there, I think might work over here on LinkedIn. So then I saw an opportunity, a really interesting opportunity. It was this woman named Leah Turner, who is a very big, prominent name on LinkedIn. She had a couple 100,000 followers, and she posted an interesting thing on Twitter, not even on LinkedIn, but she posted this on Twitter. She said, in a strange turn of events, my LinkedIn videos are outperforming all of my other content. And I was like, and then she writes at the bottom, too bad I hate doing them. And I was like, let me see. I'm like, do I have an opening here? So I reach out to her on Twitter on the platform not the platform that she has 200,000 followers, the platform that she has like 500 followers. Right.
Okay.
So I reach out to her on there and I say, hey, look, I saw your tweet. I saw this tweet that you made about your videos. And I want to tell you about a service that I have. And all I want is, as somebody who obviously knows LinkedIn, what I'd like to do is just share with you my service. And you tell me if you think it might be viable to the LinkedIn audience. And I explain how it works. I say, we get on the horn, we interview you, we cut them all into clips, and you get your video content done for you. You get like 10 videos and it only takes you like 30 minutes. And she's like, yeah, people should be lined up to buy that. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm like, want to do it? And she was like, yes, I want to do that. So, but I'm like, I'm not going to charge you. And she's like, no. She's like, she's like, really? I'm like, yes, I won't charge you. All I ask is that if you're happy with the work, write me a nice testimonial, share it to a couple people. And that's all I ask. And she was like, sure, no problem. Well, she booked the session, then had to cancel it. Took like another 2 months before she rebooked. They were doing work on her house and all this stuff, and she was waiting for that was done. And then she got the videos back. We did the session. She got the videos back. She didn't post the video for like another 2 months. So now I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I had almost forgotten about it already. I forgot about it. I was already committed to doing something else. And sure enough, one day I wake up and I have a inbox filled with DMs and like 200 new connection requests. And it was all because she posted the video. And not only did she post the video, but she wrote like a really nice testimonial about, like, if you really want to get video content and you really hate doing it, like Danny made it so easy and this and that. And I ended up signing 7 clients that day.
No shit. That's awesome, dude.
So I woke up, I started getting on the horn with people, setting meetings, 7 clients, 7 people on board. And
Good for
that
you.
was like when my business really started to take off. And, it was cheap. I was selling it for like, $500 a pop.
Mm-hmm.
That allowed me to get a couple other like high profile LinkedIn people,
Mm-hmm.
which I also did mostly for free. A couple of them ended up hiring me for more work. But I got a ton of social proof
Mm-hmm.
from some big names on the platform. And that was a big deal. And that helped me out a lot. And, I was able to raise the price to like $1,000, and then I was able to raise it to 2,500, and then I was able to raise it to 5,000. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And this is like over the course of a couple years. But so just like to kind of put where I was in 2022 when we moved to South Carolina, I was like, I had started losing a little bit of weight, but I was still like, I think maybe I lost like 25 pounds at the time. So I, was in really bad health. We moved, we were struggling, like the financial struggles were so bad, which affects like, family relationships, my relationship with my wife, like my wife, and my parents don't get along. So like I was in the middle of that the entire time. So I'm just like in like the worst period ever, just bleeding money and trying to figure out what the hell to do. And I decided to quit my job, and just like basically start my life over completely in South Carolina. It was like South Carolina was a fresh start. It's exactly what it was. Right. So I came to South Carolina for a fresh start. We knew nobody, by the way. We had 0 friends here, 0 family. Like there's nobody like here in this area.
Okay.
And so it was like I said, a complete fresh start. So I've lost a total of 100 pounds. I built the business up, and my business does I'm a solo business.
Mm-hmm.
And I do anywhere from $30,000 to $40,000 a month as a solo business. I mean, I do have like some expenses because I do outsource like all of our video editing and everything. So that's not $30,000 to $40,000 pure profit, but I'm doing pretty good. I'm making money, doing way better than I ever made, like more money than I ever made in like a corporate job. We got ourselves like a decent, like we still haven't bought a house. We still haven't replenished our savings account.
Mm-hmm.
But we never went on any vacations for like 7 years. Now we're going to, last year we went to Bahamas. We did Disney World this year. We take like a couple of like, local trips up to Greenville. And, so we're living life. We're enjoying ourselves. Like we're enjoying our kids. We get to go out and do dinners and all the things that, we were missing out on while we were just like really strapped for cash, like during the COVID years.
Mm-hmm.
I keep telling my wife really wants a house, and we're just in no position to buy a house right now. And, I keep telling her, I'm like, my shit's going to blow up.
Mm-hmm.
Like my business is going to blow up because I'm like, I got all these things that I'm working on. And she's like, you keep telling me that, you keep telling me that, you keep telling me that. And I'm like, it's coming. I'm like, it's coming. Like cause you can feel it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like you just know, like, I know, like right now, I've got an app that we built that I'm about to unleash on the world. And that app is going to be insane.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane. Like it is like, it'll be the best thing that happened to content. And then I've got, this testimonial business that we've been doing, which I haven't even marketed it. I've been doing video testimonials for just my clients, previous clients, people like in my network. Mm-hmm. Every single person that I've done video testimonials for has gotten a return on investment within the first 30 to 60 days, on the service. And I've got some other people now that are like trying to help, sell it, market it and sell it outside of just me constantly doing it or whatever. Cause I have, my business, my content on Easy Mode business has recurring revenue. And I'm trying to work on the recurring revenue stuff and, kind of sell the testimonial business through other channels. because I don't want to upset the marketing that I'm already doing, for myself over here. So, I got two things that are doing that have very high potential to take off and to start making some money. And again, plus my business is already growing in monthly recurring revenue. So it's like, I know that it's about to blow up, and we'll be able to get a house, and we'll be able to do and get the golf cart that she wants and all these things. Right? But that, so it's just been a series of failures that have led up to this point where I have never felt better about where things are and where they're going.
That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. Okay, so you got the app coming, which I know that you posted about that. I don't want you to we're not going to ask for any sneak peeks or anything like that, but
I can tell you a little bit about it if you want.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, what I've realized over, 2.5 years of working with clients on content, on creating content, is that the biggest problem that most people have when it comes to content is figuring out how to convert their content into business.
Sure.
Right. They, and chances are and the main reason that people have that problem is because they are not talking about the right things that really resonate with their audience, right? Mm-hmm. That resonate with their audience, that to the point where the audience is like, yes, I need that. I need to buy that. Right. Mm-hmm. So what I've learned is that, the best place or the best way to come up with those right topics is to let the audience come up with those topics for you.
Okay.
Right. So we're all on Zoom all the time, mm-hmm. whether it's sales calls, whether it's client, consultations, whether we're doing a podcast or whether we are, running a workshop or whatever it is. We've got all these things that we're doing that we can easily hit the record button mm-hmm. On. And what I have created is a platform where you upload all of your recordings of everything that you are already doing on a day-to-day basis and everything that you are doing to serve your business and to serve your clients, and uploading those transcripts. And it dissects those transcripts and pulls out all the best content ideas. And it ranks them out by the potential for more reach and the potential for higher conversions.
Interesting. Very cool.
So you will literally get 10, 15 content ideas or whatever it is with rankings on them. Mm-hmm. That's phase one.
Okay.
Phase two is it's going to pull out the content ideas, and then it's going to give you 5 different categories. And it's a short form video, it's a written post, it's a long form written post, which would be like an email or a newsletter or an article or a blog, long form YouTube style video. Okay. And then what I call micro content, which would be like Twitter, Substack notes, short, quick, one-liner type stuff, right? Couple liners. So you're going to have those 5 options under each content idea. And you are going to be able to press a button, and it is going to generate that content for you from your transcript, from your words, in your words. That's the content. So it is literally content on easy mode. That's what it is. And I love it for podcasters. I know you're big in the podcasting space, right? So I love it for podcasters because it's just take an episode, upload it, hit the button, get your ideas, hit the button, have your social content. Awesome. Obviously I want you to be able to edit it and make sure that it's you feel like it's authentic to you and everything like that. But because I've seen a lot of people put out a lot of bad AI content, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But I think that AI is amazing. And I think AI can do amazing things for your content. Most of my content is is influenced by AI, right? Mm-hmm. But the step that most people miss is they start with a blank canvas and they use AI. But if you're starting from a long form video with you speaking and your words and your phrases and your tone and your personality in there, and then let AI generate it based on that, it's capturing you. And I like, I can tell the difference between somebody that does it that way versus somebody that just hits the button. Like, I got this idea, like ChatGPT, write it for me. Right.
Yeah.
So this is like my kind of game changer, big idea. And I don't know what the marketing plan is going to look like. I know this is a big undertaking right now, and I'm probably going to figure out, like, I'm going to need to bring somebody in that knows how to market like a SaaS product, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to have to give up like either some equity, or I'm going to have to pay a lot of money to have somebody like teach me how to market a SaaS product, because I know how to market a high ticket service for myself, but I have no idea how to market a SaaS product to millions of people and agencies and all that. Right. So that's the next problem that I'm going to, have to hit head on. But but for the last 2 years, in building like video on easy mode and now content on easy mode, I've been doing a lot of, just growing, figuring out how to get more clients, figuring out how to grow it, but not really building anything new.
Okay.
Like, here and there you build something, like maybe you build in something for a little bit better workflow, or you update offers or whatever, but you're not building something from scratch. This content on easy mode app, like, we're building it from scratch, and it feels good to be building something again. But it also feels good to be building something again, like when you have $25,000 in monthly recurring revenue coming in, as opposed to zero. Right. It's been fun. It's been cool. Like, I've been really like energized and excited, and I'm like, I have very like high expectations for it. So we'll see what happens. It very well could fail, but I don't care. I mean, it's if it fails, it's on to the next one. Right.
Yeah. That's awesome, dude. And dude, I'm so happy for you. Like hearing you talk about it and knowing how passionate you are about helping people, share their message, communicate their message in that most authentic way. I know that you made some videos about that, also about, people will make their content in a very inauthentic way, or they feel like trapped in their own skin, like trying to share themselves with their audience. But that's one of your, maybe like a pillar or something of just coming across in a comfortable manner, so you don't feel like you're acting or playing a role. You're actually just sharing yourself with the right person.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel pretty strongly about the fact that people can make content and like do a lot of great things and make a lot of money from their content without having to be an influencer. Right. I did this at the conference. I asked everybody at the conference this, like, we were in a room of about at least 100 people. Right. Oh, yeah. And it was like, who here resonates with the term content creator? And pretty much everybody in the place, especially, a bunch of podcasters, they consider themselves a content creator. Right. I'm like, who's an influencer? And like, nobody raised their hand. Like, cause there's kind of like this stigma that of like what an influencer is. Right. Like, influencer is now like this social media person that gets paid to pitch to like Hawk products or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, that's how people look at what an influencer is. Right. And, and one of the things that like makes people hesitant to get on video is that they feel like an influencer. Okay. Right. Like, it makes them feel like they're trying to be some influencer. They're trying to be this thought leader or somebody important. And they're not like, and they try to, put on this performance. And I am like of the camp that is like the worst idea as far as like, making your video content, that your video. Now, look, I mean, I've been talking to camera for 5 years. Like, I can sit in front of the camera and I can talk to the camera directly, and like, it feels like me or whatever, because I've been practicing that for 5 years. But everybody else that has not been practicing that for 5 years, like, you don't need to practice to get good on video, because all you need to do is record a meeting. that you're part of. Like, just record you in your zone of genius doing whatever it is that you do on a day-to-day basis and cut that into clips. And you got a video, like you got a great video, which is why, all of the big creators, the Gary V's and the Hormozis and all these, they're all just podcasting and then clipping it. Like, none of them are really going and talking to camera anymore. That's like, you've seen it. We've seen this happen. This has happened very intentionally over the last year. Where like that, that direct to camera content is few and far between.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is clips. Everything is cut this clip, cut this clip, cut this clip. Like, that's what it is. That's what we've gotten to. And I think that, people are already on sales calls. They're already on client consultations. They're already doing workshops. They're already, recording podcasts and doing interviews. That's your content. That's the basis of your content. And what I want to do is help you take that content, which is now your foundation,
Mm-hmm.
and make it easy for you to multiply it across wherever the hell you want to put it.
Awesome. I love it. So we're not ending yet. I want you to tell people, because I do have another question for you, but it's more of a light question. So I want to end on the light question.
Okay, cool.
How can people get in touch with you? I know we've got your social links in the body of the video, whether we're looking at YouTube, whether we're looking at LinkedIn and Instagram. So we've got connections there. People can reach out to you. I know you've got a website as well, so shout that out.
Yeah. So you can go to contentoneasymode.com. That's where you'll be able to find the app, and we're releasing the beta version next week. So, everybody will be able to jump on the beta version. It's free. And then obviously, if you decide that you really like the app and you want to upgrade, there'll be options for you to upgrade it. But yeah, you will get some free, and we're not just giving like, a couple of things, like where you can use it once for free. Like, no, you're going to get a bunch of chance to really like trial it and see if you like it, and see how you feel about it and everything like that. So we're going to give you a fair chance to use it. But yeah, contentoneasymode.com. And then, the best place to find me though is LinkedIn. If you just look up Danny DelVecchio, and you just look for the guy in the hat that's like turned backwards and slightly to the side, kind of like Fred Durst in the 90s, like you'll find it.
Got to kick it a little bit,
Yeah, it's kind of my thing. And I try to mix it up a little bit and do some stuff without the hat these days, but people want the hat from me.
Awesome. And folks watching this right now, I can attest, Danny, super responsive, super like speaking always from the heart. Like, what you see is what you get. Like, when we met at EPC, all of our conversations leading up to EPC, always easy to get in touch with, and just super warm-hearted, kind-hearted. So definitely reach out to my man and help him, let him help you take your content game to that next level. So stop beating your head against the walls and wondering what you're gonna say and all that nonsense.
It doesn't have to be hard. We got easy mode. That's what we're doing.
Awesome, brother. So real quick, a lighthearted question. We're gonna end on a personal tip. How are you doing with the new food stuff? Because I know that to support your wife, you recently gave up the bread, and I know from
that was a temporary thing.
oh, that's over.
No, yeah, that was so. I did a 30-day. So I'm still on like this journey to try to be more healthy, right?
Okay.
So I've gone through this ups and downs of weight loss, right? And I started to, I got myself down like where I had lost 100 pounds, and then I started to gain some back over the last year. And I noticed that the scale was ticking up, and I'm like, ooh, I got to do something.
Yeah.
And then my wife, she was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, like not like life-threatening or anything like that. But, the doctor recommended to her that she go on a gluten-free diet for at least 30 days, right?
Okay.
So I committed to doing the gluten-free diet with her for 30 days. And as a New York Italian
I,
who likes pizza and pasta and bagels and bread, this was one of the hardest. This was the hardest diet that I've ever done. Like, I've given up other things and sweets and things like that. This is definitely the hardest one, because I don't, when I diet, I typically don't give up certain things. I
uh-huh.
just limit certain things.
Uh-huh.
But this time I really gave it up for 30 days, and I survived.
Wow, you're a stronger man than I am, because just like you, I love my pasta.
Yeah,
I wouldn't. You did it, so it's doable.
it's doable. It's
But
doable.
I can't even fathom giving up pasta
13
or
pounds I lost too. Well,
how much?
13 pounds
Okay, good for
in
you.
30
Good for you.
days of just from doing that. But yeah, I'm definitely making some more, like, from that experience, I have learned some things, right?
Cool.
So, just, as far as like, you know, as far as like what I'm changing, is if I am going to eat something, if I'm going to eat cake, or if I'm going to eat ice cream, or like if I'm going to treat myself, like, I'm not going to eat like some kind of crappy version of that.
Okay.
Like, I'm going to eat the best thing. Right. Like,
Right.
like, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I'll like, if it's my homemade chocolate cake that was my grandmother's recipe, like, I'll eat that. But if somebody's got a birthday cake from Publix, like, I'm going to abstain. Like,
Okay.
like, so that's one thing. Definitely eating more fruit, and like not eating a lot of carb, like, not eating bread, and really in the morning. Even really, even at lunchtime too, just, doing more salads as opposed to doing sandwiches. Not that I'm saying I'm not going to ever eat sandwiches or anything ever again, but
Mhm.
just taking it easy, and like, just making better choices. That's it. That's all you got to
Right on.
do, is just
Right
make
on.
you if you make better choices, like, you'll be fine.
Very cool. Very cool. Danny, any closing note, any word of wisdom, any insight, anything that you want to share parting for the good folks?
um no, not really. I mean, I've given you a bunch of stuff to think about. I feel like, obviously I'm very accessible. So
Mhm.
if you ever have any questions, or, there's ever any, you ever have ideas that you want to run by me, my LinkedIn DMs are always open.
Mhm.
So please feel free to reach out to me, and just keep showing up. That's what anytime people ask, like, what the closing statement is, or whatever it is, I tell people, just keep showing up, and as like, don't try to be somebody that you aren't. And show up a lot.
Yeah.
And the opportunities, if you keep showing up, and you stay consistent, and you keep learning, and you keep trying to get better, and like, you learn from the failures that you've made, um, just know, like, you will win. You will win. The only way that you won't win is if you quit. And it takes a different amount of time for people to win.
Mhm.
Like, some people hit it and they skyrocket and they get it quick. Other people, it takes a long time. So, don't compare yourself to anybody else's journey. Like,
Yeah.
the time that it takes you to succeed may take longer than somebody else. I posted on LinkedIn for 7 months without getting a client, right?
Mhm.
7 months took me a long time. Other people get clients right away. Um, so it's just like, if you just keep showing up, just be yourself, keep iterating, getting better. You'll win, guaranteed.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I got.
Brother, I appreciate you being here today,
Thank you so
spending
much for having me.
spending
It's
some
fun.
time on a Friday, ending your week. And I know that it was inspiring for me, and I guarantee it was very inspiring for the folks out there. So, folks, also too, if you've got a comment, question, or whatever, drop it in the comments, whether we're looking at, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, whatever, and I'll make sure, if you're watching the replay, I'll make sure Danny sees that question or comment, and definitely put you in touch with him. But absolutely reach out to Danny. We got the links in the show notes, and we hollered out his socials and his website. So reach out to him if you got some questions, and I know that he's going to help you out. So Danny, thank you so much, brother.
Appreciate it, Rich. Thank you.
Thank you.